Good morning. We're going to do part 2 of this Lacy soft spine, if I can remember where I put it. So I finished this off last night. I just stitched them down. They're actually glued down. I used this Gem Tack. I like this to glue hard things down. I used to use fabric glue to glue buttons down, but they'll pop off. This stuff works. You can get it at Michael's, and make sure you have a coupon. Okay, so I'm just going to flip this over, and you'll see that these layers are largely not adhered together. Oh, I wanted to comment on what I use to seal books. Depends. This one I sealed with this. It's yeah, that's English. So it's spray paint, but it's matte clear. So, and it dries in seconds. Take it outside because it stinks to high heaven. You only need one layer, and it works good. Sometimes I will use Mod Podge. I have spray Mod Podge. I haven't had good luck with it. I think that's what Catherine uses exclusively. We'll have to double check that. Let's have a slurp of coffee while we think about that. Okay, whatever you're doing, put it down, because this is where things get complex. So I have a piece of cardboard here. Oh, let me show you what else I have done. I'll just flip that over. So I have done the inside cover pages. Haven't sewn them yet, but I will, and they'll get glued inside. Just like that. This is the template that I sew my signatures to. And I just want to point out, I have 6 holes. So when I am sewing my signatures, I don't have to start at the center and, go through and then tie it like a 3-hole punch or a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. This one I just go like I'm a running stitch, down, up, down, up, down, up. And when I get to the end, I pull it tight, tie a knot to the stitch before it, and then start the next in, out, in, out, in, out. I'm sure I've demonstrated that in videos, but I get a lot of questions about how I do the hidden hollow back spine, and that's how I do it. Okay, so that is going to, well, it'll be like that, actually. That's how that will get slotted in there. And then these will go on top. So that's what the inside of the book will look like. Okay. So let's talk about constructing a spine here. So I have a piece of cardboard. It's, I don't know, it's cardstocky. Now I know that I want this to be 1.5 inches, right? So I've cut a piece, it's about 4 inches, okay? So I've got my scoreboard. So what I want to do is score a line and another line that is 1.5 inches apart, and then just some little sides. Let's grab the scory part. So I want 1.5 inches. There's 1, 3/4, 3/4. Okay. Just as long as I have enough to glue at some point, it does not matter how big this piece of cardboard is. I just need a little lip to glue down at some point. So then I'm going to put this back down. This is a pretty thick book board. So you'll see this fold is like at a spot between the two score lines. So there's one. So it's not 1/4 inch. It's not 1/8 inch. It's 3/16. And that's because the fold is not aligned with... I am nowhere near showing you this. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's bring this down a little bit. Okay. So this fold part, folded part, it's right there. And then there's a fold line and there's a fold line. So it's in the middle between the two fold lines. So I'm going over, so it's like 3/16, right? And I'll flip it. And I'll put that there again where it's in between. And then score. So this is folded this way, but these folds are going to go the opposite direction. So it sort of looks like a Z. Okay, I'm going to back out again. Slowly. Okay. Ignore those numbers. That's just written there because I was trying to figure out how big to make my inside covers. Okay. So that goes down. This one I want to go up. File folder is good for this. I was looking on Facebook Marketplace yesterday, and somebody had free stuff on the curb, and there was a box of 250 plain file folders. But it was 22 minutes away, and I had stuff to do. Okay. Now, this will be the inside. Okay, you can see it's way too long. And I actually want it even shorter than my book, inside book covers. So my inside book covers, they're about 1/4 inch narrower than the full width or height of the cover, so that there's a little bit of space. So I want this even shorter so that this paper doesn't show anywhere. So there's the top, and I'm gonna cut it about 1/4 inch. Okay. Just making sure that's straight. Okay. Now, I'm going to strengthen this with fabric. I don't have to use the matchy-matchy fabric. I just happen to have the matchy-matchy fabric handy. So I'll just tear a little piece, more or less the same size. And it doesn't matter if you have this up or down, because nobody's going to see it. But I want to reinforce the inside of that paper. Okay, so I'm sure there's an easier way to do all of this stuff. And really, I'm just talking my way through it. There's no discrete steps here. It's about reinforcing, 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 but keeping it as thin as possible, because you don't want a lot of bulk in the spine. It stops being a soft fabric spine when you it up too much. So I'm just laying that down. The arm of my chair is rubbing against the table. That's what that noise is, if it's making you crazy. Okay. I'm going to cut these ends off. The sides don't matter, the ends do. Okay, get the shape going again, because I want it to dry with that fold. Let's do one at a time. 1, 2. Okay. Now, have a couple of options here. I can glue this on or I can sew this on. I'm going to think carefully. And I think I'm going to glue it. Okay. So the first step I need to do is glue that little flap on top of the inside of the book and that one. So first, better make sure I got the back and the front correct and facing the correct direction. Okay. Perfect. I'm going to use fabric glue. I could also do it the other way, and maybe that's what I will do, is put this up, and then I can see better where I lay the glue, right? So remember, this is shorter than the height of the book. About 1/2 inch, I'd say. I'm putting some glue right along that fold because I want that to stick to the spine of the book, or the edge of the book cover, I guess is what I want to say. So I'm going to line this up on the line on my desk mat, because I want the front of the book to be exactly the same height. I don't know why I'm using fabric glue. I always just think fabric glue is a better glue. I mean, you try what you got. What turns out to be the best for you. For some reason, I just think fabric glue is the way to go. If this was a narrower book and the covers were thinner, I would probably run this through my sewing machine. The fact is that the width of this cover would never get underneath the arm of my sewing machine, because there's only so much space. Okay, get this on before the glue dries. Okay. Now, I'm going to glue this to the top. I'm going to make sure that it's centered right on there, all right? I'll use fabric glue again. Now don't put glue right there because it'll hang over. Time to refill my bottle maybe, or give it a little acetone to thin it out a bit. Okay, don't get any glue on the lace. We'll deal with that after this sets up. So I'm just doing a bead. Of glue just down that edge. This is where I wrap the fabric around. There's nothing fast about doing this, that's for sure. There's no journal in an hour kind of deal. Just adding a little bit more. Okay. Make sure that my leaves are pointing the correct direction. And I'm just going to turn it around to make sure. Shove it down just a smidger. Yep. I'm going to let this set up, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, it's pretty much glued. Now, I've got the book closed. And remember this first layer of lace that we put down, and I said to make it about 1/4 of an inch wider than the strip of canvas. And that's because I'm just going to run a little bead of glue here. Right on that tiny little fold there. And then press that into the lace or the glue, that tiny strip of lace. Don't rush it. Okay, I've already done the other side. So I'm just going to set that aside and let that glue dry. Okay. All right, so that's good and dry now. So I have it closed again, and what I'm going to do is I don't want any shiny glue showing, so I'm just going to put some of this art glitter glue here. So I'm going around the top and a little in that center there. Okay, I'm going to press that layer of lace down and into the gap. And down to the cover. So I'm focusing the glue on where there's some solid areas in the lace. Make sure it's pressed to the cover. Okay, got this side done as well. And the reason I'm saying to go layer by a layer of the lace is because, you know, when you fold 3 pieces of paper and then like it looks like it's 3 different lengths. So if you just take your time, I don't know if I explained that properly, and just fold over each layer of lace, it'll lay much more neatly and naturally, and it'll actually stick better. Now, if I had been able to sew through this, I would have put this on my machine and sewn there. But since I can't sew, I'm just going to gently I guess this lace is thick enough I could use my other glue. Let's use the other glue, the actual fabric glue, because this is more of a thicker lace. So the shiny fabric glue isn't going to show through. Does need to be held for a second though. I'm going to take my time doing that. Okay, so that is done. That's what the spine looks like. And there's the back. So what have I got here? This is the template I will use to poke my holes in the signatures. This is the template. See, it's the exact same height as the template. This is the template that I will sew my signatures to. I'll poke holes in here where the pencil lines cross. And if you saw part one, I said I wanted to do 5 bigger signatures. No, I'm doing 7. Yeah, I always find that more signatures, smaller signatures are easier to lie flat, and that makes the journal easier to write in. So, and these are the inside pages. So when this is all put together, this will get glued into the center, and then these will cover the raw edges of the fabric, and it will have a really great finished look. So I know that was a lot. Give it a shot, and just remember, if you do need to sew, if the glue's not holding, you're gonna have to either sew by hand or use a narrower book. So maybe start with a small book first to give this technique a try. Anyway, I will finish this journal for the time being. Jordan was just here and took Doug golfing. So I have the house to myself. It's only 9 in the morning on a Sunday morning. So I have the house to myself, and I'm going to do some crafting. So take care. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.